All right, guys, welcome, and we're going to start working some problems here on the screen. You should be seeing my black screen here in front of me, which we're going to use as our kind of drawing board. What I have done is pulled up an old textbook of mine. I used to teach business analytics, statistics, whatever you want to call it, where we covered the normal distribution. And I just pulled up the old textbook that I used to use. It's Statistics for Managers using Microsoft Excel. It doesn't really matter what textbook we're talking about. They're all going to have the same kinds of problems. So I'm just going to pick a couple random ones out of this one, and we're going to work them. I'll make sure to show a different set of problems, kind of, so you can see how your textbook might be asking these types of questions. So the first one that we're going to look at is really a very straightforward kind of problem. The video, if you've watched the video on how to work these problems, you'll know there's a 4-step process. The first step of that is going to be draw the picture, right? So step 1 is always draw the picture. Step 1, draw a picture. We're always going to do that. We just need to draw the picture no matter what. Step number 2 is going to be we need to calculate our z-scores, right? Now, if they already give us the z-scores, we don't have to do that step. And so you'll see a couple of these problems are going to say, assume you're already in the standard normal distribution. And if your problem starts that way, then you don't need to calculate any z-scores because you're already in the standard normal distribution and you don't have to do that step. Okay, so that's where we're going to start. It's supposedly easier that way, right? Because there's one extra step that's missing, and we don't have to worry about it. Okay, so let's look at this problem. It says to us, let's see, let me find it here. Given a standard normal distribution with a mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1, what is the probability that? Now, let me go ahead and write these out here for us. So we're going to be finding these probabilities. So probability, let's say A, is going to be that Z, get where I can see this and my screen at the same time, probability that Z is less than 1.47. So that, let's see here, Z is less than 1.47. And we'll go here and we'll work B. B is going to be is that it's greater than, so Z is greater than 1.74. And let's work another one. Oh yeah, this will be a good one. Z is between 1.37 and 1.75. So the way that I'm going to write that is that Z is between 1.37 and 1.75. All right, so we're going to work these 3 problems, okay? All of them are going to be worked very, very similar to each other. We're going to follow the same 4-step process that was laid out in the previous video. If you haven't watched that, I'll put a link to it here and in the description so you can go watch it. It's like 5 minutes. Super great to watch before you watch these videos. Otherwise, you're going to be like, why is he doing this step? Just go watch. Just take 5 minutes, watch the video. You'll be great. But I'll explain it to you as we go along. We're always going to do these 4 steps. Okay, let's start off with A here. So Z is less than 1.47. So our first step is always going to be draw the distribution. So draw our graph. So I'm a terrible drawer, but I can draw like a little, bell curve with a line under it. It doesn't have to be great. No one's going to see this. This is for you. This is to help you work the problem. Okay, and we're going to come here. We're going to draw our little mean down the middle. Now, since this is the standard normal distribution, the mean here is 0. And the Z that we care about, or the value that we care about, is 1.47. So that's going to be over here to the right. So we're going to draw a little line over here and say this is 1.47. And we want to find, the area less than 1.47. So what I always like to do is always like to shade the area that we're looking for, right? We're looking for this whole area to the left. Okay. So now we've got a picture of what we're looking for. The next step in our 4-step process: first step, draw the picture, label everything that we can. Second step, calculate the z-scores. This is what I was talking about at the beginning of the video. We don't need to do that step here. These are already z-scores. We are already in the standard normal distribution, so we don't have to do that. So we're going to skip that step for now. It's going to come back in a second when we work the next set of problems where we have to use that step. We don't have to do it right now because we're already in the standard normal distribution. Okay, now step number 3 is going to be go out and look up our z-scores in the z table. So what we're going to look at is, again, this depends on what your z table looks like. There's really 3 types of z tables out there. There are ones that give you area to the left, ones that give you area to the right, and the ones that give you the area to the center. The center ones you hardly ever see. I would say 75% of the ones that are out in books and online, those kind of things, are going to be area from the z-score to all the way to the left, which is good because that's what we're actually looking for here. You can work these problems with any of them, but I'm going to work the problems assuming that we've got that. Specifically because if you go to ztable.com, ztable.com is an area to the left. So here, I'm actually going to bring it over here on the screen and show you. This is ztable.com. Yeah, we can add. And so what you'll see here in the middle is it always shows you a picture of this is the area from the z all the way to the left. Now these are negative z-scores in this first table, and then positive z-scores in this second table. For our particular situation, we've got a z of 1.47, so we're going to use 1.47. Now the way that you use a z-table, no matter which type it is, you're always going to go look up that z-score. And so 1.47, you're going to go down here to the row of 1.4, and then go over to the 0.07 column. So that's the 1.47. 1.4 tells you the row, the 0.07 is the column. And we get our value of 0.9292. So that is the area from that z-score all the way to the left. Okay, so let's come here and let's draw that in so we don't forget it. So I always like to put it up here at the top and put a little arrow and show this is all the way over to the left. That area is 0.9292. Great. Okay, so we know from the z-score of 1.47 all the way to the left has an area of 0.9292. Now, the 4th step of this is look at that area, look at the area that you actually wanted to find, and do some calculations if you need to. Now, in this case, we don't have to do anything because the area that we wanted to find down here that we shaded in is exactly the area that the table gave us. So all we have to do now is just circle this, and we are done. That is problem A. Okay, we've got it straight out of the table. Now, problem B, we're not going to be able to do that, and you'll see why in just a second. Okay, so let's erase this. And let's work problem B. So problem B is, let's draw our distribution here. Again, I'm not trying to make it beautiful, just trying to make it legible. 0 is in the middle because this is standard normal distribution. That'll change in just a minute. Here we're going to find where z, the probability that z is greater than 1.74. So 1.74 to the right is 0 because, as the other video said, that's the way numbers work. So we'll come up here and we'll draw a little line to the right, and it's going to be 1.74. And now we're finding the area. We want z greater than 1.74, and so we are going to find this area over here. Okay, looks a little different than what we did before, but this is step one. Step one, draw your graph. Always. Don't think you're too smart for it. Okay, I've got a PhD in economics. I still draw these every single time because it just helps. All right, so step number two, calculate the z-scores. We don't have to do that this time. Okay, no need to calculate z-scores. We're already in the standard normal distribution. Step three, go look at the z-chart. So now we're going to go over here and look at the z-chart. Let me pull it back over here. We're going to be down on the 1.74. So again, 1.7 is this dark line here. It's kind of hard to see. 4 is going to be a little bit over, so that is 0.9591. 0.9591. So let's now move this back out of the way. And again, this is the area to the left. 0.9591. Okay, so the area to the left of 1.74 is 0.9591. That was step 3. We looked up our z-value on our z-table. Now, step number 4. Use what we've got here on the picture to calculate the area that we actually want. Okay, how do we do that? Well, this is something we didn't show in the kind of the explainer video, but one thing to remember is this is a probability distribution. This is the normal distribution. It is a probability distribution, and the thing about a probability distribution is that the area under a probability distribution, the total area, is 1. So if you go from all the way over here to all the way over here, that area is 1. Total of 1. Okay? So then if you know from this point to the left is 0.9591, then we can calculate this area, or this part, as being 1 minus that. So we'll come over here. I'm going to work it down here below and say 1 minus 0.9591 9591 is equal to, you can just plug that in a calculator real quick. That's going to be 0.0409. So then this area here, right, that area is 0.0409. And that's our answer. Circle it, and we're done. Right? Again, explaining that just a little bit more, because this one, we haven't worked like this. The total area under the curve is 1. So if we know part of that is 0.9591, we can subtract that from 1 to get the other part. Okay? Because they have to total up to be 1. If you add those two numbers together, you get 1. Okay. Let's work one more of these problems. Okay. So we want to find the area between 1.37 and 1.75. So let's draw our picture out here. I'm going to trying to make that a little bigger than what I had before. Because in this case now we have 2 z-scores. Here's 0 in the center. Here's z-score number 1. Here's z-score number 2. Now, they're both positive, so we're putting them both on the right-hand side. That's important, right? We want to make sure that we're labeling this correctly. So we've got 1.37 and 1.75. 7.5. It doesn't matter where you put them. It's just that matters that you put them in relatively the right position. 0 comes first, then 1.37, and then 1.75. Where exactly on the graph? If 1.75, that line was a little bit more to the right, who cares, right? No, nobody. And the area that we're trying to find is this area here in between those two z-scores. Again, very important. Now, so that's step 1. Step 2, calculate the z-scores. We don't have to do that. We're still in this kind of portion where we're in a standard normal distribution. Finally, we want to say, what is we want to go look these up on the z-table. And what we're going to do is we're going to find 2 areas this time. We're going to find the area from 1.37 all the way to the right. And we're going to find the area from 1.75 all the way to the right. And using those 2 areas, we're then going to be able to calculate the area that we want. Okay, so let's start out. Let's go here and grab our z-table, the handy dandy z-table, and let's look for 1.37. So 1.3, go over to column 7. That's going to be 9147, so 0.9147. So let's write that up here. Zero point 9147. And then let's grab our z-table again for 1.75. 1.75 is going to be 0.9599. 0.9599. I'm going to write it under here a little bit. Because I made my line a little too high on the screen. Okay. Now with these 2 values, that's step 3. We've gone and just looked up our z-values on the z-chart. Now we need to use those 2 values to find the area that we care about. How do we do that? Well, this just requires a little bit of thinking, but if we know that the total area from 1.75 all the way to the left is 0.9599, and we know the area from 1.37 to the left is 0.9147, we don't care about that area. So if you think about this as 2 areas, in fact, here, I'm going to change the color of my drawing here. And we'll come down here and use this red area here. We don't care about this red area, right? We only care about the white area. 0.9599 is the total area, the red and the white. So if we subtract off the red area, the area that we don't care about, that will leave the white area there. Great, because that's the exact area that we care about. So we just have to do some quick subtraction. Okay, so let's come down here. Let's write out our subtraction that we want to do. So we want to do, let's see, 0.9599 minus 0.9147. And that's going to be, again, we can plug that in our calculator real quick. And that's going to be 0.0 452. And that's our answer. That is that area. Right? Okay. So really the 3 types of problems that you're going to have in all of this is you're going to have finding area to the left, which if you have a z-table like the one I was showing is very easy. You're going to have a problem like B, which is find the area to the right. In those cases, you have to do 1 minus the area that you find to get the area to the right. And then you have problems like C, which is find the area between two numbers. And when you do that, you have to subtract the two. If you have a Z table like the one I was showing, you subtract the two. And that gives you the area in between, because you take the big area minus the area you don't care about, and that leaves the area that we have. Okay? So this one is a pretty simple one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop for a second and probably put in another video the next set of problems so we can kind of separate them out a little bit. So check out this next video that you'll see right here coming up, and like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in just a minute.